Dear MBA aspirants, the Gmat is not as tough as it seems. You just need to plan for the testing. Today on the video guys, I'll talk about a few Gmat test taking strategies that you can use to score really well on the Gmat. Stay tuned. Welcome to my channel MBA for You, where we transform your career. So let's get started. Dear friends and followers, today I'll talk about 10 important Gmat test taking strategies that you can use to score really well on the Gmat. Make sure to understand and apply these strategies while you are practicing on Gmat mock tests. If you want to know more about the Gmat exam pattern, please have a look at my previous video on all about Gmat, link in the description below. Know the exam pattern first before understanding or applying the strategies. If you already know the exam pattern, great. Then please watch the video till the end and understand all these strategies so that you can score really well on the Gmat exam. Let's get started. So here comes the first. Number 1. Know the MBA programs to which you want to report your score. In order to apply to any MBA course, you must report your score officially to that college. That is, you cannot inform your score yourself. You must ask Gmat, the organizers of the Gmat, to report your Gmat score to that college. But when you take the actual Gmat, you will have a choice to inform your test score to 5 courses you choose. It won't cost you anything extra. If you want to report your score to any other college later on, you can do that, but it will not be free of cost. Now, how to decide which colleges to select? Well, there is no easy answer. However, what you can do is that you can get an idea about how much you can score if you practice on mock tests. Moreover, you will have some target colleges. Only select those colleges in which, if you get admission, you will accept it. Select a few colleges that accept Gmat score in the range of what you are expecting. My suggestion is select 2 colleges that are slightly above your expectation, 1 at your expectation, and 2 colleges that accept Gmat score in the range which is slightly below your expectation. Right folks, so here comes number 2. Decide the order in which you want to take different sections of the Gmat exam. Friends, you can select the order in which you want to attempt different sections of the Gmat. There are 3 options to choose from. Option 1. It starts with the AWA and IR sections, then comes quantitative and verbal sections. You will get 2 optional 8-minute breaks in between as shown. More about these breaks later on. Option 2 starts with verbal and then comes quantitative and finally IR and AWA sections. And option 3 is like this. The choice depends on you and there is no right or wrong choice, but I will give you the choice I exercised. I chose option 2. Your score out of 800 depends on verbal and quantitative sections, and so I decided to deal with this upfront so that I can utilize my full energy. I was better in quants and not that good in verbal. So I decided to attempt the verbal section first because I wanted to take the section with all my energy. The IR and AWA sections are also important, but it does not affect your score, and so I chose to take those last. Form a strategy that works best for you. Number 3. The scratch pad. A what? A scratch pad. You will be given a scratch pad like this on the actual Gmat. It will have a checkered pattern as you can see. You will be given a fine tip non-permanent marker to write on it and do rough work on it. You will have to return the scratch pad at the end of each section. This scratch pad will typically have 10 pages, which I personally think is more than enough. But still, if you need more scratch pads, you can do so. You can ask for new scratch pads when you have one last page in the scratch pad that you are currently using. I strongly suggest practice using the scratch pads while you are taking the mock exams for Gmat. This will help you feel at ease when you are taking the actual Gmat exam. These scratch pads are available for purchase on several e-commerce websites. Those are a bit expensive, so I made my own scratch pad. It's not that difficult and I will tell you how. I used a printer to print this checkered pattern on a piece of paper on both sides. I laminated it and I used an old plastic spring that I had to do a spiral bending. There you have it, your own scratch pad. I used a sketch pen in place of a non-permanent marker and I used to take the mock tests. After I was done, I used to rub this scratch pad with a piece of moist cloth and there you have it, your own scratchpad which you can keep reusing for several mock tests. Alright, here comes number 4, timing. I can't overemphasize this, friends, but timing is absolutely crucial on the Gmat. There are 3 major goals you must keep in mind. Remember, Gmat rewards you for managing your time well. It tests your management skills. Hence, always answer each section fully. The penalty of not finishing a section is huge and can drastically reduce your score. The penalty for answering a question incorrectly is not that much. Also, it might be a dummy question on which you are spending time. So if you find that you are stuck on a question for too long, don't waste time. Just guess on an option and move on. If you want to know more about dummy questions, watch my previous video on all about Gmat. Remember to click the submit button and actually submit the answer to the last question of each section. The last answer is not auto-submitted if you do not click the submit button. Set time goals to stay on time. I will tell you the strategy that worked for me. I divided my time like this. Since 4 to 5 reading comprehensions typically come on the verbal section and each passage has 4 to 5 questions on the passage, I had set 5 minutes for reading the passage, taking notes, and answering all the questions that comes with the passage. I had set 1 to 2 minutes for each critical reasoning and sentence correction question. If it is an easier question at the beginning, it will probably take me 1 minute. If it's a tough question at the end, it can take me a bit more. I kept time goals, such as 6 questions every 10 minutes. For quant section, you can draw these markings on your scratch pad before starting the section. You can do this by using 6 minutes of the optional break and 2 minutes for drawing lines on the scratch pad. As you see, I have divided the page into 4 sections for 4 questions. The lines will also prevent mix-up of rough work from one question to the next. I have set 2 minutes for each question. The section is 62 minutes long. Hence, the first 4 questions should be completed before the 54th minute. Questions 5 to 8 should be completed on the next page and be done with before the 46th minute. And this goes on. At last, you will have 6 minutes left with you and you will have to answer 3 questions from question number 29 to 31. Write these time goals on the scratchpad corner so that you can keep a track. You will have a countdown timer running on the screen. A wristwatch won't be allowed on the test center. Number 5. The breaks. Use the optional breaks that you have. The breaks come according to the option you choose to set the sequence of different sections on the Gmat. At the end of the section, you will get an option to choose to take the break or proceed to the next section. When you choose to take the break, your 8-minute long break starts. Start by handing over your used scratchpad to the proctor and request a new one for the next section. You may also ask for fresh markers if you need. You can now go out of the testing room. Take some food, which you must carry in your bag. You have to keep the bag in a locker outside. I suggest you take dry, easy to eat foods such as biscuit or small cakes which can give you quick energy. If you have some energy drink or juice, have it. Get refreshed in the break. Plan your break such that you can complete all of this in 6 minutes. At the end of 6 minutes, get back to the test taking room. Use the next 2 minutes to set up your scratchpad for the next section. For example, if it is the quant section, then you can draw the lines and write time goals on the scratchpad as I discussed before. At the end of these 2 minutes, start the next section. Remember, if you are late in returning back to the test taking room, the next section will start automatically at the end of the 8-minute long break. I strongly suggest that you take the break and utilize it fully, because once a section starts, you cannot pause it and take a break. You can go out of the room to get refreshed after informing the proctor, but the time will keep on running and you will lose out on valuable time for the test. Number 6. Understand the score chart. Friends, let me first clarify that this is not the actual scoring chart that Gmat uses. In fact, Gmat keeps on revising the scoring chart as it stresses more on recent score statistics of test takers. You will find many such charts on the internet. This is just for illustration purpose. As I said in my previous videos, in order to have a good chance of admission in good colleges, you need to score 690 or more to be in a safer spot. Suppose you score a perfect 51 in verbal. Then you need 43 out of 51 in quants to score a 740. But suppose you score a perfect 51 in quants, then you only need to score 38 out of 51 to score the same 740. If you score the same 43 in verbal in this scenario, you can score 770. Let's take another example. Suppose you scored a full 51 in verbal. Then you only need 46 out of 51 in quants to score 750. But think of the reverse. With a full 51 in quant, you only need 40 out of 51 to score the same 750. If you score 46 in verbal as well, you can score 780. The point I am trying to make here is that verbal affects your score more. It seems that more Gmat test takers across the globe score more in quants than in verbal, and hence the score of verbal affects your percentile more. Of course, this gap reduces as you go up. To score a perfect 800, you need to score a full 51 in both verbal and quants. But the point is clear. Verbal is important. Prepare it well. 7. Decide a cutoff score. It saves money. I'll tell you how. After you complete the test at the test center, you will be given a raw score. It will have the Gmat score out of 800, which depends on your verbal and quantitative section. You will also get individual sectional scores on quantitative, verbal and IR sections. You will get 2 minutes to decide whether you will accept the score or reject it. If you reject the score, your scorecard will show that you had taken the test but rejected the score, although no one will get to know that score. Decide a cutoff below which you will reject the score. This depends on the Gmat score acceptance range of MBA programs that you are targeting. Decide this upfront because it is tough to decide this in 2 minutes. Later on, if you wish to reject a score that you accepted, you can do so on MBA.com after paying a fee of $25. If you wish to reinstate a cancelled score, you can do that as well for $50. There is a fixed time window in which you can do that. For more details, visit www.mba.com because these rules change with time. It is always smarter and economical to decide this upfront and accept or reject the score right after the test for no extra cost. Number 8. Know your strengths. While you take mock exams, identify your strengths and weaknesses. Try to learn from mistakes and increase your proficiency. But on the test, do not spend too much time on a question from your weak area. For example, I was not as strong in probability as with geometry. So if I got stuck on a question on probability, I will try my best to solve it in 2 minutes. If I still can't solve it, I will guess on an option and move along. Even after spending a lot of time on that question, I might get it wrong. And worse, I will be eating away time that I could have saved on questions from my strengths. I suggest that you try your best, but don't get stuck. Keep on monitoring the countdown timer on the screen. Number 9. Practice. No, it's not as obvious as you think. First of all, practice on good quality mock tests that are provided by reputed companies which are computer adaptive and mimics the Gmat. Do not keep on taking the same mock tests as you will get to know the questions and you can score better, although it may not be due to better preparation. This will misguide your preparation. Take the complete exam with all sections and at a stretch, just as you would do in the actual exam. Do not pause in between. You need to get accustomed to taking a tough exam at a stretch of about 3.5 hours. The next one is very important. Simulate test-taking environment. Practice with a scratchpad as I had told. Take the exam in a quiet place as you can expect in a Gmat test center. Also try taking breaks that you would take in the actual Gmat. Take similar kinds of food and drinks as you would take on the test day. This will help you to rehearse the break so that you can get ready in 6 minutes and use the next 2 minutes of the break to set up the scratch pad as I had discussed previously. All I am saying is that practice to the point such that taking a Gmat becomes a second nature. Last but not the least, stay calm. Yes, this is extremely important. Gmat is a test of your mind and it will test your nerves. Questions will get tough along the way. Here's the key. Don't feel tensed. Tough questions can mean that you answered the previous questions correctly. That's a good sign, indicating that you earned it. Easy questions is not a bad thing also. Starting questions can be easy. All the questions may seem easy because you prepared well. Remember, do not focus on assessing the test while you are taking the test. Focus on the questions and do your best. And remember, all other test takers are feeling just the way you are feeling. Guys, I'm sure you'll do your best in the Gmat exam and get into the best MBA courses. But just in case you do not score well on your first attempt, don't lose hope. Remember, Gmat is an international exam and competition is immensely tough. You can always retake the Gmat in 16 calendar days from the date you take the Gmat. Don't lose hope. Stay focused. I have many friends who did not crack the exam on the first attempt, but they scored really well on subsequent attempt and then they got into the best MBA colleges in India. You can do it too. Stay focused and all the best. Friends, after you crack the Gmat, the main task starts. Now you have to apply to the MBA courses in the top business schools with your Gmat score. In order to crack the admission process, you need to know how to write the perfect SOP, which MBA courses to select, what colleges to apply for as per your work experience and your Gmat score. For more information on it, watch my video on my YouTube channel, How Admission Process on MBA Works. For more one-on-one guidance, you can also visit the website www.psu2private.com. Link in the description below. Friends, I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please subscribe to my channel, put a thumbs up and share the video. I'll see you in my future videos.